Hi. It's Halloween movie month. Okay, since this is the second week of Halloween, it's time to get into the really good stuff, like Halloween Town? So Halloween Town is a 1998 Disney Channel original movie that came out when I was 9 years old. It's about Marnie, a 13-year-old girl whose mother won't let her go out on Halloween night.
Hey, look, I'm a potato. Are you happy now? Maybe I'll put down some roots in the carpet.
Oh, no, Marnie. It's too dangerous. There are things about vegetables that you don't understand.
Is this our protagonist? Are we supposed to like her? Also, if she's so into Halloween, shouldn't she look more like this? So when I picture a town with a theme of Halloween, I usually think of something more like this. This town to me looks a little too sunny.
I can't hear you. I seem to have a huge lollipop in my ear.
He seems nice. I bet he's the bad guy. So these kids go to Halloween Town and run into weird characters like this one.
I have a very urgent message. Somebody's on pins and needles.
Does she make that pun every day? Oh look, there's the mayor again. He's so nice. Too bad he's the bad guy. Also, weird Elvis broom guys.
Well, looks like you got your eye on our windsweeper 5000.
What the crap? Oh look, it's the bad guy. I bet he's the mayor.
Will you shut up?
And how do they destroy the bad guy at the end of the movie? With the power of humming. So this movie makes absolutely no sense, even in the realm of its own logic, but it's mostly harmless. That being said, it's not my favorite of the Disney Channel Halloween movies. I mean, there are much better, like Under Wraps, Don't Look Under the Bed, but for some reason this one became a cult classic and spawned so many sequels. It was nice to revisit for nostalgia, but I don't think I'll be watching it next Halloween. So in the 80s there was a resurgence of old monsters like vampires and werewolves, and a great example of that is in Fright Night. In Fright Night, the vampires move from the castles of Transylvania to the suburbs of the 1980s America. Roddy McDowall is great in this movie as a TV horror host who has to help the teenagers destroy the vampires. And the movie itself is a lot of fun. It's a great piece of horror comedy in the 1980s. Right after that, I watched the 2011 remake, and it's also a lot of fun. It doesn't really have the 80s vibe to it, but guess what it does have? David Tennant.
Let's kill something.
And ladies and gentlemen, adding David Tennant to things makes it better. They've updated him from a horror TV host to a sort of Chris Angel fraud vampire hunter. And just warning those out there who love their David Tennant nice and sweet as the Doctor, in this movie he is not so much that. The original and remake are both pretty good for their own separate reasons. Next we are talking about Peter Jackson's cinematic masterpiece. That's right, the legendary The Frighteners. Now I love The Lord of the Rings as much as the next geek, but The Frighteners is kind of an underrated masterpiece. It takes the two things I love, horror and comedy, and wraps it in a really, really great story. It's a movie I appreciate the more times I see it, and I've never really seen anything else quite like it before. The best character in the movie is definitely Jeffrey Combs as this very strange investigator. And it was also Michael J. Fox's last starring role. If you've never even heard of this movie, it's on Netflix and you should definitely give it a watch. Next is one of my favorite movies from 2012. It is The Cabin in the Woods. Another one on Netflix. You people don't know how good you have it with all of your movies within arm's reach. All you need to know about Cabin in the Woods is that it's one of the funniest, smartest commentaries on the horror genre in the last 30 years. I remember watching this for the first time and thinking, okay, this is awesome, it could go here, but it probably won't. And it did! It totally went there! Where did it go, you ask? You'll just have to watch it. Alright, like I said before, the 1980s saw a re-interest in the old classic horror movie monsters, and with that we got The Monster Squad. This movie is kind of like a reunion slash best of the classic horror movie monsters in the 1980s. Look at that, they even have a fat kid. What's his name?
Aw, man, fat kid farted.
It may be obviously ripping off the Goonies, but it's still a good movie on its own. All the kids are scary movie geeks, which makes it all the more awesome when they are the ones that have to destroy the monsters at the end. Also, this movie gave us this famous line.
Wolfman's got nards.
I mean, when you really think about it, why wouldn't the Wolfman have nards? And next it's time for ghoulish fun for the whole family, it's ParaNorman. I remember just seeing the trailer for this movie and being so pumped about it. It's a kids stop-motion animated movie for scary movie nerds. But there's one thing about the movie that really still kind of bugs me. Norman is established at the beginning to be able to see ghosts, which is awesome. But the plot really starts going when he unearths a secret curse from a witch that brings these zombies back from the dead. It's up to Norman to destroy the witch's curse. And the fact that he can see ghosts never comes up again. Sure, it's technically needed to establish how different Norman feels from the rest of the townspeople, but you never even see the ghost that you saw at the beginning of the movie for the rest of the film. And to me, this just kind of feels like lazy screenwriting. It's like the makers of the movie forgot one of their most important plot elements. Don't get me wrong, I like that this movie has ghosts, zombies, and witches in it, but if all three of them could have worked together for the story, then that would have been all the more awesome. That said, I still really like the movie. I mean, it's a love letter to classic horror films. How could I not love it? And also, it's a really mature story that kids don't really hear a lot these days. It might have its problems, but it's still a movie I'll enjoy watching every Halloween. And now finally, the scariest thing is coming. You can't stop it. It's Bette Midler. Who knew that the Disney Halloween movie that came out in the summer of 1993 would become such a cult classic? Or that ABC Family would exploit it for all that it's worth? This movie taught us many things, like how to start off your family-friendly Disney movie with child murder, what kids were like in the 90s.
What about you, Max? What are you supposed to be?
A rap singer.
Nah, kid, if you're gonna be a rapper in 1993, you gotta look like this. What adults do for Halloween. What the crap are they wearing? And if you're a virgin, you should probably not light a cursed candle that will bring back witches in their house that is still standing in this town for some reason.
Oh, come on. It's just a bunch of hocus pocus.
Heh, he said the title. Since this movie plays on TV every year, you can go back and watch all the adult jokes you missed.
We desire
Children.
Hey, that may take me a couple of tries, but I don't think that'd be a problem.
The movie may make little sense, but I just wish I could have as much fun as these three actresses are having making this movie.
hold me.
What a pretty spider.
It's just a bunch of hocus pocus.
She said the title again. Unlike Halloween Town, this is a piece of nostalgia that I will enjoy going back and watching every year. Join us next week for our last episode of Halloween Movie Month. Dear. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to go scare my cat some more.
Trick or treat, trick or treat, trick or treat for Halloween. Better give a